What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Your Lake Fork Guide. It's Thursday night. You know what that means. It's time for us to discuss our top bait choices for this weekend for Lake Fork and the surrounding area. Now, I will not be at Lake Fork this weekend. I'm actually headed down to Sam Rayburn to fish the Bass Champs tournament on Sam Rayburn. We're going to talk about the fishing conditions that we're dealing with here in Northeast Texas, as well as some of the conditions that I'll be dealing with down at Rayburn. Overall, it's looking tough. We got cold, muddy water, and we're going to give you as much help as we can for cold, muddy water in tonight's live stream. We're going to talk about the baits and kind of how to fish them. Of course, we're going to answer great comment right there. Of course, we're going to answer as many of y'all's questions as we can as well. You guys do me a favor. Excuse me. You guys do me a favor as y'all get in here. Drop me a comment. Let me know who I'm talking to. Hey, if you enjoy these live streams, hit that thumbs up for me. And also, if you don't mind, if you can figure out a way to share it or let your buddies know we're on the live, let's get as many folks in here talking about fishing as we can. That's how we like to do it. Say some hellos and how you doing to a Jared Carson, Brad Lamar, Blake Crutcher, Ken Simpson, Gordon Ewell, Big John, Tom G, Justin Boyd, Dusty Newton, Bass Raider, J-Bo, Bryant White. There we go. Lots of y'all coming in here tonight. Coming in hot. J-Bo's telling me to get my stuff packed because, in case y'all don't know, we are going down to fish the Skeeter Bass Champs tournament on Sam Rayburn this weekend, Saturday. And Jonathan Boland's going to be my partner, that Bigfoot Bass Guide profile y'all are seeing pop up in there. He's going to be fishing it with me. So he's over here barking at me, telling me to go get my bags packed. He said, looks like you got the Skeeter details. I did before I went down and pre-fished Rayburn, so it's a little bit dusty, but it's cleaner than usual, honestly. Jeremiah Smith. He said he's broke because he didn't get a discount on 6 cents today. I've got a solution for that, my brother. I've got a solution for that. Man, a lot of y'all in here tonight, dude. Appreciate it. Y'all keep dropping them thumbs up, keep dropping them comments. So let's talk about what we're dealing with. These are, and I don't want to sound all downtrodden, but these are some of the toughest bass fishing conditions that you can get. We got a cold trend right behind a cold trend. 2 cold fronts in a row over the last week, 10 days. Major cold fronts dumped a ton of rain with both of them. The lakes are rising. The water is getting dirtier and dirtier. Those are pretty much, if you go ask anybody that fishes full time, rising cold, muddy water is the worst conditions you can have. So these are, it's as tough as it gets. Like, this is going to be tough. Expect it to be very challenging to catch fish this weekend. I would certainly expect that. And we really don't have enough warm weather, or certainly any warm nights coming up over the next week or 10 days that I can see the forecast where it's going to turn around. So it's probably going to be tough for a little while. That's okay. It is what it is. It's going to be tough. That's January. It doesn't mean you can't catch some really good quality fish. That's the beauty of winter fishing. You can catch some big bass, even if you don't catch very many. So it's not all doom and gloom. There are big fish to be caught. I'm hoping me and J-Bo can snake 5 big ones on Saturday and see how that works out. But you just got to have the right mindset going into it. The biggest thing that you can do is get yourself mentally prepared for what it is, which is tough. You're going to have to fish slow. You're going to have to fish methodical. You're going to have to fish reaction baits, or you're going to have to fish finesse baits. You're either going to have to make them bite or tease them into biting. You ain't going to just be able to throw something out there and they're just going to eat it. That's not happening right now. And our baits tonight will reflect that. Now, I tend to lean more towards the make them react, make them bite versus the tease them or finesse them in the biting method. So a lot of my stuff is going to reflect that. But mentally, prepare yourself for the grind. Prepare yourself to go long periods of time without bites. You got to be a confident fisherman to have success in the wintertime. You got to have a lot of self-belief in what you're doing. That way, you don't have to, that way you don't start spinning out a little bit whenever you don't get bites for a while. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. I didn't say that very well. Let me try it one more time. You got to have confidence in yourself. That way, when you do go through those periods, long periods without bites, you don't start freaking out and thinking about, well, should I fish here or should I fish there? You start changing baits. Don't do that. Don't do that. Go with your confidence. Go with an area and a technique you're confident in. Be methodical with it. Be repetitive with it, and just stay after it. And you never know what kind of giant bass will kick out for you on any of these East Texas fisheries, really. So, all right, let's get into some baits. Man, I'm going to tell you, one of my favorite baits for muddy water. It's been very successful for me over the years. You guys have seen us have success in cold muddy water on videos over the years with this bait. It's going to be the Tiger Truce Quake 70. This is the time for this bait. This is the time for this bait. Now, I'm telling y'all, when it gets cold and muddy, this when this sucker shines. Yeah, muddy water, cold time of year, Quake 70, great bait. Especially if you can find the right kind of grass to fish it around. Hey, jerkbaits. Jerkbaits also are going to be a great... Oh, y'all having side conversations in the comments, I see. That's great. I love that, by the way. Jerkbaits are a great bait to make fish react. I'm going to, if the water's just lightly stained on the main lake, then I'm going to throw a shad pattern like this. Man, I'm going to start throwing some neon stuff in that dirty water, though. I may throw that ditchweed color. I may throw the gold reactor color that has the bright orange belly and the gold sides that flash. Gold reactor traditionally is a very good muddy water, cold water jerkbait color. But jerkbaits are going to be a great bait to make fish react as well right now. Of course, a chatterbait. A chatterbait, man, that's a great bait along with a lipless crankbait to throw when you get cold, muddy water. Now, I will probably throw, if I was fishing Lake Fork or these lakes up here this weekend with the dirty water, I'd probably be throwing a black and blue chatterbait, to be straight honest with you. This is more of a natural shad color. I just had it loose right here sitting on my table, so I grabbed it. But the black and blue 3/8 ounce chatterbait would probably be the one that I would choose in Lake Fork this weekend. And then, of course, a jig. Now, let me see if I've got... I don't think I have them anymore. So I need to get me some of these for muddy water, but black and blue jig, great. The one thing that I would do is I would take and I would put an electric blue trailer on here instead of a black with blue flake. What bait should I use in my dirty ponds to beat my cousin? I bet him $50 I would win. I would go with, in a dirty pond, I would go with a black and blue chatterbait. The first couple of these baits, this one right here, this lipless crankbait with that neon color, that Tiger Truce lipless crankbait, or a black and blue chatterbait would be my first two pond bait picks if I was fishing a pond. Anyways, black and blue jig, another great bait to throw in the cold, muddy water, but electric blue trailer, that's a big deal, guys. That electric blue trailer in that dirty water, that's the deal. It helps a lot. I promise you, it helps them find it, helps them see it. You're going to get more bites with an electric blue trailer when that water dirties up, so. Somebody said Senko for pond. Senko's never a bad idea in a pond, but I will tell you this. I would throw a black and blue one if I was throwing it in that dirty water. Now, there's another option out there. We can also go to power plant lakes. We can also go to power plant lakes right now, and there's fish spawning on power plant lakes, and the bite might slow down a little bit with this cold water, but the good thing about like Lake Welsh and Brandy Branch, they're just not ever going to get really dirty. They just don't have any flow. They've got a ton of grass. Those lakes don't really get dirtied up very, very much. So that water is going to stay good and clean for you. Also, the heated water, it's going to be perfect. And a lot of times, the colder it gets, the more those power plants will generate, and the water can actually do the opposite, and water temps can rise under extreme cold on power plant lakes because they're pumping more, generating more. Now, Martin Creek will get a little dirty on you at times. I will tell you, I was at Martin Creek earlier this week, and it looked great. It didn't look dirty at all, and we caught we caught fish on a few different baits, but the vast majority of our fish were caught on the new 6 cents whale swim bait. We were fishing it really, really slow, just slow rolling it across some grassy areas, but there's definitely fish on the bank out at Martin Creek, as well as Brandy Branch and Welsh. They'll be a little deeper there just because the water's so clear, they'll spawn deeper, but they're up there around the bank doing their thing right now, spawning. So on all of those power plant lakes, if I was going to power plant lake, I'd have that swim bait tied on, I'd have a chatterbait tied on, and I'd have like probably a wacky worm tied on. Just typical spring fishing baits. The whale is the bomb. Love it on whales too. Yeah, the whale is a very, very, very good swim bait. They nailed it with that one, as they usually tend to do. Before I start answering all y'all's questions, there's one more thing I want to touch on. You know, when it comes to chatterbaits, we talked about trailers on a Facebook Live last week. But guys, in the wintertime, man, this is it, man. The Lake Fork Tackle Live Magic Shad. This dude right here is the deal in the wintertime. If you don't throw that, I mean, there's been a lot of companies come out and try to duplicate that and try to mimic it and whatever. None of them have ever made one better. I mean, this is the deal in the wintertime on a chatterbait. It has the right action when you're slow rolling that chatterbait, fishing it super slowly. There's just not another trailer as good as this one right here. So, Lake Fork Tackle Live Magic Shad. If you're a chatterbait guy and you don't own those, you need to really, really bad. And one other thing I wanted to say is I actually went up and I've got, I don't know, 10 boxes or so up there. Went and bought a bunch of trailers today. So, went and got me several boxes of them. But it'd been a while since I'd been in the Lake Fork Tackle store, and the last time I went in there, the owner, Mr. Ronnie Parker, wasn't there, so I just went in there, bought my stuff, and left. But Mr. Ronnie Parker was there today, and I got to give him a shout out a little bit because it's hard to find somebody nicer than that man. You know, every time you go in there, he makes you feel like you're his best friend. If you guys haven't stopped by the Lake Fork Tackle store, they've got some good plastic selection in there. You owe it to yourself to stop in there when you're at Lake Fork because Ronnie Parker is a very, very good man, and he is the nicest guy you'll ever meet. And, hey, he's got some good fishing baits in there. So go check it out, especially for chatterbaits in the wintertime. You need to be getting some chatterbait trailers up there with that live Magic Shad. All right, let's answer some questions. You know what? One more thing. We got to do this. I'm sorry. There's obviously a lot going on in this country right now. We're going to talk about that for just a second because I've had people in the past that I've worked with and worked around that, man, they just don't want to speak up on anything like this. They don't want to take a stance on anything. And I'm gonna call some folks out, and I might be calling some y'all, and I'm sorry if this hits home, but what is going on in our country is so important that if you have a voice at all, and as small as my voice is, at least I have a voice. If you have a voice at all, you owe it to your country to take a stance at times on what's right and wrong. And if you're a guy that talks to the public at all, and you don't speak on this a little bit, you just avoid the topic, that's weak and that's cowardice. There's some craziness happening in our country. I don't know all the details of what went on in Washington, D.C. yesterday. I have gotten to a point where some of this stuff has irritated me and frustrated me so much that I kind of have tried to put my head in the sand to it a little bit and let things work out and see what happens. But we talked about this, a few weeks ago, whenever, about nothing's going to change until people start sacrificing some stuff. Until you sacrifice going to Timmy's baseball game or your Bass Champs tournament. Maybe you sacrifice your own well-being to try and stand up for what you believe is right, because there are some serious wrongs being done in this country. What happened with this election was not okay in any way, in my opinion. I think there was some serious wrongdoing. The political elite class in this country has gotten way, way out of control, and I do believe that it's time that they get put in check. I truly do believe it's time that somebody needs to check them. Well, that somebody is the American people. Now, I don't necessarily agree with how everything was done yesterday, but something's got to give. Something's got to give. We cannot keep going the way we've been going. So, I'm trying to speak real carefully, so pardon my pauses here, because I want to make sure that I don't say these are important stances to take, and these are important topics, and I don't want to say anything that I don't truly mean in this conversation. But something has to give, and you hear some rumblings through different outlets about, well, we just need to get rid of Trump now, get him out of office now, because he's the one inciting this, and it's his followers that are doing this. And okay, if you think that his followers are upset about an illegitimate election, or what they perceive to be an illegitimate election, and then you force him out of office early, you think that's going to quiet those people down? No, you politicians, you dirty, immoral pieces of garbage. There are a few good ones. For the most part, these are some thieving, deceitful pieces of garbage. And if you think that's going to stop us by you running him out of there early, that ain't going to do nothing but make it worse. You politicians, you elite politician class, are going to have to wake up one day and realize that you cannot quit being as evil. You cannot keep being as evil as you have been. You are going to have to answer and start doing things the right way, or this will continue to get worse. This will continue to get worse. I do not want to see what happened yesterday happen again. I don't want it to see it get worse. But if I'm looking at it from a real point of view, it's going to get worse because all these politicians are blaming the people. And guess whose fault it is? It's their fault. It's the politicians' fault. These people are so angry because of your behavior. So until you take some personal accountability and blame yourself and you take responsibility for your corrupt actions, it's going to get worse from both sides. You have had protests, massive numbers of protests from both sides of the political belief system in 1 year. It ain't got nothing to do with Donald Trump. It ain't got nothing to do with Proud Boys or BLM or nothing. The whole thing is there's a bunch of people in this country that are angry because our political elites have gotten so far corrupt. We just can't take it anymore. We just, as a country, as a people, America is screaming. We're screaming and telling you to stop. We've let you take advantage of us for way too long, and you need to stop doing it now before things get worse. I don't want this to happen. I want to go fish bass champs, and I want to run guide trips and film fishing videos, and I want to coach my kids in soccer. Like, I don't want to have this stuff go forward and advance and turn into what it's on its way to turning into, which is a lot of civil unrest. I don't want that. Listen, I've been deployed to some bad parts of the world, and I wasn't the guy that saw all the action, but I've been around enough of them to know it ain't what we want. I promise you it ain't what we want. But let me give you a warning, politicians. Let me give you a little bit of a warning. This country has been at war on multiple fronts for 17 years. And yes, I know the Afghanistan war's been going longer than that, but on multiple fronts for 17 years. Do you know how many veterans are in this country now that took an oath to defend this Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, Well, that oath doesn't have an expiration date just because we got discharged. And there is a whole bunch of veterans that are going to fight you tooth and nail before you completely destroy this country. I promise you don't want them to start getting activated and organized. I don't want that to happen. But it's on its way. These dang politicians better wake the hell up, and they better correct their ways. They better find some Jesus. I'm going to tell you. I see somebody saying, let's talk fishing. Listen, we talked fishing a little bit. We're going to talk more fishing. But I feel like everybody needs to say something about this. Everybody needs to have their opinion heard on this. And you need, whatever your opinion is, you need to speak it open and honestly. We need to have open, honest discussion about it. Nobody can hide from this anymore. Nobody can hide from it. It's happening in our yard. Nobody can hide from it anymore. It's time to stand up, discuss what we all believe is right, and let's get it going that direction. Anybody that wants to avoid this topic and anybody that has a public voice at all and won't speak out on this topic is a daggum coward. You're a coward. And you're taking the easy way out, and that attitude is what got us in this damn place in the first place. People not standing up for what's right and not just, well, I got something else going on. We'll let that one little bad thing go. We'll let this next little bad thing go because Johnny's got a football game or I've got a fishing trip. We got to do something. And the first step to doing something is to talk about it. Anyways. Discuss what's right from the viewpoint of many so we can meet somewhere in the middle. 100%. We need to have open discussion. And I'm not saying that, I'm giving you my opinion. This is my opinion alone. None of my people that I work with, none of my sponsors, none of the guides that I work with, nobody else. It's not Jonathan Boland's opinion. It's not anybody's opinion. It's my opinion only. Okay? And I'll sit here and listen to somebody that comes from a complete other side of the spectrum, and we need to hear them too. And then we need to have that conversation with each other and figure out reasonable solutions. The main thing is, these politicians are bad on both sides. Both sides. You know, I mean, it's so corrupt in our political world. So corrupt. It just needs to be called out, and these politicians need to be held accountable, and they need to hold themselves accountable and do something about it. They were elected to serve this country, not themselves, and that's what they do. They serve themselves. And I don't think anybody from left or right would disagree with that. And for the record, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. Social issues, I lean a little bit liberal. Governmental and fiscal issues, I lean way conservative. But I'm not either side. So, I don't want to get into too much discussion about that, but I felt as an American that loves this country that it's time that we all speak up and take a stance. And so I wanted to give you guys mine for whoever might hear it out there. Lost in 2024. Y'all don't want me running that, dude. I can't even run my own boat right half the time. Y'all don't want me. If you saw the inside of these tackle storages in this boat, you definitely wouldn't want me running anything. I'm just gonna tell you. Do you hook your transducer to your trolling motor? So my trolling motor has the transducer built into it, and most of the new ones do. And I do run my front graphs off that front transducer. All right, y'all asked me some fishing questions. Let's go back to fishing. I'm sorry we got off topic there, but we had to do it. They just better love Jesus. That's right. They all need to find some Jesus. But, you know, that's an opinion you just can't force on everybody. That unfortunately, you can't. I mean, I agree with that. I personally agree with that. Have I seen Hummingbird's new live yet? No, I haven't seen Hummingbird's new live yet. It's not coming out till March from what I've heard. What do you throw in this colder weather in creeks that are 15 feet deep? Oh, black and blue jig with a neon electric blue trailer like we talked about when we did top 5 baits in the beginning. Yeah, black and blue jig with a electric blue trailer. What electronics am I going to use? So for my new boat. So my electronics will be a Lowrance right here on the console. I will have a Humminbird 360 on the bow. I will also have right now I'm thinking I'm going to have a Lowrance active target. I might go back over to Garmin Live Scope, but I want to see the Lowrance active target before I make the final decision. But from the information I've gathered so far, I'm leaning towards the Lowrance active target. So I'll have 2 Lowrances and a Humminbird 360. Those will be my electronics, and a Lowrance Ghost trolling motor. I like the idea of being able to link all that up together with my Lowrance trolling motor and both those units. So if the Lowrance active target is just at least as good as the Garmin, which I think it is, or maybe a little bit better, then that's what I would rather have. Just sub Big John shared the video. Well, thank both of y'all. Thank you, Optimize Outdoor, and thank you, Big John. Avery Gatton, side bet. So yeah, so David Ozio is gonna. So me and Jonathan Bowling are going and fishing the Bass Champs tournament Saturday on Rayburn, and David Ozio is also fishing it with a buddy of his from down there. So we are going to get a side bet. I talked to David a little bit. We didn't come to terms on the side bet yet, but there's a side bet happening. I can assure you, between me and J-Bo and David and his partner. Man, there's a lot of questions. Oh, Avery, are you fishing with David Ozio? Oh, hell. Let's go. I'm in. I'm definitely in, bro. Yeah, we definitely get a side bet going. Ronnie Green says, do you think Mexican spice color stroker crawl would be a good bed fishing color? I don't know. I'm terrible with color names. Just tell me give me a brief description of what color that actually is. If you lose, you got to fish the drop shot for a week? No. God dang, boy, that's a little serious for a side bet, isn't it? You gonna torture a man for a whole week? Like, I'm pretty sure I'd rather stand there with my legs spread and let somebody kick in the middle of them the rest of the week than fish that drop shot. Side bet involves spike it. Am I fishing shallow or deep on Rayburn? Man, I can't be giving away my game plan, dog. Like, I kind of want to make y'all wait and see that in the video because I got the whole practice and everything. I got like 3 videos coming from Rayburn once we get done with the tournament. Green pumpkin on top and chartreuse on the bottom. Yeah, that would be a good bed fishing bait color. You know, I'm gonna tell you, I just go natural. Like I throw a lot of green pumpkins or watermelon reds, just kind of more neutral, natural colors on bed fishing. Don't get too tied up about the details of your colors on bed fishing. It's really a lot more about reading the fish's behavior. But I do like to go with natural colors over like the white. I don't really like going white on bed. I used to. I know a lot of people do. I don't like to do that. And the reason I don't is because pressured fish, to me, I've had a lot better luck getting pressured fish to bite natural colors on beds. Avery Gatton says, you're going to be on the same brush pile we will be on. Well, Sam Rayburn is over 100,000 acres, and there's about 100,000 brush piles, so the odds of that happening ain't great, but you never know. I mean, if I do end up on the same brush pile as Avery and David Ozio, I'm telling you right now, y'all hole jump me. I'm just letting you know. I didn't hole jump you. I'm just saying. For the record. Just saying. When will we have a loss in color in 6 cents? I don't know. You have to ask them. What is my thoughts on fish being in the shady side of cover in the wintertime? You know, when we're not in the wintertime, I do tend to stick closer to the shady side of, standing timber, docks, or whatever. In the wintertime, I kind of fish it all because I don't know. Because sometimes them fish might be using that shade as a little ambush deal, and sometimes I feel like they want to be in the sun. So I don't favor shade or not shade during the winter. And then outside of the winter, I do favor the shady side of cover. So I don't know if that answers your question, but in the wintertime, I kind of just don't favor either side of the other. I kind of fish both sides of the cover until I get a couple bites. And then I'm paying attention, once I get a couple bites on where they're at in relating to the shady side. Cedar Creek Freak and D. Cole will be there. Nice. Well, hey, man, y'all say hi if you see us. You said you'll ask Casey when we'll have a loss in color. I'm in. I'll put some stuff together. Arganez asking, how is fork biting? It's slow. I mean, everything's slow right now because we've got the worst conditions possible. Rising, cold, muddy water. Back-to-back cold trends, big fronts, big rains. I mean, we talked about this in the opening of the live stream tonight, but those are the toughest conditions that you're going to get. Like, it's not going to get any tougher than that. So, the bite is slow, but there's big bites to be had if you will grind for them. And I love doing it. I love doing it. So, I don't mind fishing all day for a few bites to a handful of bites if I can get the right ones. It doesn't bother me. I catch that 1, 6, 7, 8 pounder and it makes my day. Ken Simpson said he's building a few black and blue jigs with a few strands of orange in the bottom. That's right. That's a little top secret deal right there. Do I still like the Cajun crawl jig with the chartreuse picked off? I do. I do love it. It's out of stock right now on their website, unfortunately. But yes, I love that Cajun crawl jig, and I just take the chartreuse out. Maybe I need to get Casey to design a jig that's like this one, right? just black and blue, but we get some orange in there. Give me 8 strands of orange on the bottom. That can be the Billy Lawson jig color for 6 cents. Cody Mays in the house. What's up? What's up? Do you fish the suspending quake any differently from other quake models? So I never got my hands on any suspending quakes, and they're out of stock, and they've been out of stock, and I didn't get any in the first run for whatever reason, and I've never gotten to fish one, so I can't give you an answer on that. I'm sorry. Avery Gatton says, where are we going on the 13th? First of all, we need to talk, Avery, because I got you down in my book on the 14th, and that's what Chris told me, but you're saying the 13th, so we need to figure that out. Either way, we can make it. We'll work it out. But I don't know. We'll talk about it next week after I get back from Rayburn, or we'll talk about it this weekend if I see you while we're down there. I'm sure I'll see you down there. And whatever you want to do, brother, it's going to depend on what you want. All my customers, man, as far as what lake we go to, it's about what they want. If they want to go grind on for it for some big bites in the cold winter water, muddy water, I'm in. I love it. I'll do it every day if y'all want it with me. If you'd rather go have some fun and lean on some fish and have a better chance of catching more numbers, we'll go to one of these heated lakes this time of year and we'll wind some stuff around and, just chunk and wind and catch some fish and have a good time. And we'll catch good quality fish doing that usually, but yeah. We need the sausage Lawson color. How about the Lawson sausage color? That would sound better, I think. I don't know. Kyle C says he was at Rayburn today. Good luck with bass champs. I'm sure it was tough. I'm sure it was tough because it got hammered last night with rain. It's going to be a tough tournament. I mean, listen, it's Lake Fork. I mean, Lake Sam is Lake Fork. Same thing at Lake Fork. It's Lake Sam Rayburn. Like, somebody is going to catch 5 good ones. Somebody's going to have a good bag of fish. I'm just hoping it's me and J-Bo. I mean, I was on really good quality, average size fish. I didn't even catch a single non-keeper. So something about the way that I fish, the style I fish in the wintertime, I do tend to catch good enough quality fish to compete in a tournament. But rising, dirty water, all that, like, I'm going to have to get 5 of them, and that's not going to be easy. Uh-oh, what we got going on here? We got a troll. I think I figured out how to get rid of trolls. I think I just figured out how to get rid of a troll. I think I just did it. What do bass eat at Lake Fork in the summer? Oh, golly, man. You guys ask these questions that are so hard to answer sometimes. There's always a population of shallow fish and a population of deep fish in the summertime at Lake Fork. And, you can kind of catch fish on a chatterbait year-round at Lake Fork, and summertime's no exception. We catch them on swim baits, we catch them on buzz baits, frogs, all that stuff. Then we also go out deep and catch them on things like 3/4-ounce jigs and deep diving crankbaits and flutter spoons and Carolina rigs, and David Ozio and all his little weird buddies catch them on drop shots. Love you, Dave. Brandon Malone, what's up, old son? I hear it. Lake Welsh is hitting right now. Yeah, Lake Welsh is fishing good. All these Power lakes are fishing good right now. They really are. I know Lake Welsh has had a lot of people. A lot of people fishing it. Should I punch at Welsh this weekend in this weather? I would try it. I wouldn't be real committed to it. I would try it. Usually on Welsh, if they're on that punching bite, real quick. It also might be a deal where you need to kind of get up on the bank and wacky worm, swim bait, maybe sight fish. That type of deal might be your better option at Welsh. But you could absolutely. There's been fish spawning off and on for long enough now. There can certainly be groups of post spawners in the grass, in the deeper grass where you can punch. It was, oh, yeah, Set the Hook said he caught him on Welsh on a wacky worm. Yeah, that makes sense. It's wacky worm always works out there this time of year. From now till March, a wacky worm's a really good bait on Welsh. We might have to bust out the old wacky worm on Saturday in that tournament. I don't know. I have to see. If it's tough enough, we might have to do it. Do you feel that Welsh is getting pressured too hard? Nah, it's pretty normal out there this time of year. It always gets hit. And Welsh is one of them special little lakes that seems to really hold up to the pressure really well. It always does. So, fish like you got to make a house payment. Oh, we're going to get after it now. We're definitely going to get after it. No doubt. We're going to fish hard. So, Billy, when we making the color, I don't know. I don't know. We got to figure that out. What rod do I use on a wacky worm? Yeah, I use a 6.9 medium. You said, please don't say medium action. I do. I use a 6.9 medium. Need to throw the red chatterbait. Shh. Y'all got to quit. Y'all can't be giving me no info on Rayburn. I'm off limits right now. Don't be telling me nothing about Rayburn. Jay Power said he figured out the live scope at Welsh. Easy Lake to tune it in. Yeah, there's so many fish in it. I bet it is an easy lake. When are you going down to draw your number? I'm going down. I'm leaving town tomorrow at noon. We'll be up there to register tomorrow evening. We're going to go do registration tomorrow evening, figure out what our boat number is and all that. So. And I don't even know what I'm hoping for. Like, I don't know if I want an early boat number to make sure I get on my spot, or I don't know if I want a late boat number so I can fish a little bit later. I don't know. I'm just going to take whatever boat number I get, and we're going to go fish harder than anybody's ever seen anybody fish, and we're going to try to put 5 good ones in there and then see what happens. Hopefully somebody doesn't catch 40 pounds, because I don't think we're catching 40 pounds. I can tell you that. Like, I don't see that as being a reality in my boat. Ryan Perry says, I'm just getting into fishing. I'm only 14 years old, but I absolutely love fishing. That is greatness, brother. Keep after it. That does my heart good to hear that. Y'all quit telling me baits. I'm not even supposed to be getting information. Cody Mays says, Bass Champ said we too ugly to fish it. I think they was talking about Vic. I don't know. Yeah, well, I don't know. See, y'all too ugly to fish it. I've been to a Bass Champ tournament before. They got some pretty ugly hands in there, so just saying. New to this channel, when are you going to get a chance to review Lowrance Active Target? As soon as I can get, so they haven't even been delivered yet as far as I know. As soon as I know somebody that has one, I'm going to go film and do a review on it. So it should be soon, hopefully. And we are going to get back on the electronics. I'm going to go film another Garmin video. In fact, I'm going to go with J-Bo, Jonathan Bowling. He's been using the Garmin Live Scope up there at home in Oklahoma on Broken Bow. So whenever we get back to this tournament, I'm going to line some stuff up with J-Bo, and I'm going to get up there and do a Garmin Live Scope video with him, do another one. I did 2 with the 360. And then, of course, when I can get my hands on an active target or get in a boat with somebody that has an active target, we'll do that as well. Cody May says, you lucky I can't come whole buzzard you and J-Bo. Good luck. You got to. I don't know if your old boat can keep up with the old goat boat back there, Cody Mays. I don't think you can catch us. J-Bo says, I got to finish packing. We'll see you. See you tomorrow, buddy. My tournament partner. We'll see you tomorrow, my man. I need to get on a boat that has both like yours. Yeah, I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed to that. Well, I do need to reach out to you, and we need to do that, Avery. I fished Neely Henry in Alabama. Any suggestions for cold, muddy water with current? Cold, muddy water with current? Yeah, I would probably try to. Man, I'm not the most experienced current fisherman. I would think in cold, muddy water, I'd be trying to get away from the current a little bit. Certainly be fishing current breaks. And I would really like a chartreuse blackback squarebill. If you got like standing timber and stuff like that, I think a chartreuse blackback squarebill would be good to fish off the backsides and bang them off those stumps. Or another great bait in cold muddy water that we didn't talk about tonight is a spinnerbait with a really big Colorado blade. That might be that's one of the best muddy water baits, cold muddy water baits that you can throw. But I would probably be trying to get away from that current, get in the backwater areas, get in the oxbows, just try to get away from the river current if I could. But that being said, I'm not the most experienced, not even close, current fisherman. Are we going out to Humphreys or Castle Boykins? We're going out to Humphreys. Where am I going to be tomorrow? Tomorrow I'm going to be on the road to Sam Rayburn for our tournament. Charles Mayberry, I can't really quite understand that question. He said, did you hear Ken comment about 2 electricity companies give money in bass tournament? I can't really comprehend all that. Sorry, brother. All right, somebody drop another question in there. We'll answer it. What else y'all want to talk about tonight? I'm looking forward to this deal, man. It's going to be the biggest tournament I've fished in a long time. I haven't fished any real tournaments like this in a long, long, long time. Later, Mays. Appreciate you stopping in, buddy. Did I see the Bassmaster move the Classic to June? I did see that. I sure did. Yeah, Bassmaster Classic on Ray Roberts was supposed to be in March. Now it's going to go, it's going to be in June. Saw that. Have I been on Cypress Springs lately? I haven't been on Cypress Springs in a couple years, actually. You want us to go live on the road tomorrow? Dude, you know what the phone signal's like going down to Rayburn? There's no way we could go live on the road. But I will tell you this. We are going to live. So normally we air seminar videos Saturday afternoons or evenings. Well, we don't have a seminar because I was out of town last week, so we didn't do one. So instead, me and Jonathan are going to do an after-action report and do a little seminar-type live stream from our hotel at Rayburn, because the hotel has Wi-Fi that usually is good enough. We're going to try anyway. Usually that hotel Wi-Fi is good enough to live stream. So we'll be doing a live stream after the tournament on Saturday afternoon. You guys watch for that. We'll give you after-action report and talk about everything. Simplistic Fishing's out. Appreciate you stopping by, brother. Thank you. What is the name of the tournament? Bass Champs. What line size do you use with spinnerbait with that big blade? 17-pound or 20-pound fluorocarbon. Why does red work so well this time of year? Yeah, the crawfish patterns are real popular all across the South in the cold time of year. And people always relate that to fish eating crawfish a lot in the wintertime, and I think they do, because crawfish do tend to like the colder water temps, and crawfish do love to get around grass. So I think there's something to that. But I'll tell you something else that I found. I've seen years ago, I saw a brim in the middle of winter that had been stunned and was just floating on the surface. And that brim was very, very, very orange. So I think in the South, a lot of our brim fade to a bright orange color in the wintertime. And if you look at a lot of the most popular crawfish patterns, it's not really red as much as it is orange. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think that the brim turned that color. I think that's part of it. Maybe the crawfish has a little bit to do with it, but yeah, it's just about what they're eating. Fishbot says, thanks, good luck. Hey, appreciate that. Thank you for stopping by tonight on the live stream. Thank you, John Jones, as well. Ronnie Green says, Ken Smith got an electric company to put up a contingency program for their customers at Bass Champs. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I just don't get to... I don't get to watch very much other content. I'm always fishing or making content, so I don't get to watch too much content. I know Ken Smith does some interesting stuff down there at Rayburn, though. He does a good job, so that sounds awesome that he got somebody to put up a contingency program. That's really cool. Seabox says, are you fishing all 4 tournaments to fish the championship? Man, I want to. I've already got guide trips scheduled through the end of May, so I don't know that I'm going to be able to make that schedule work. I would love to. I need to break down and look at, I want to get past this one, see how it goes and everything. And then I want to look at our schedule, my personal schedule, guiding and coaching my kids and all that stuff, and see if I can finagle fishing the other 3 from that division. I would love to, though. Do I ever hear from Lake Fork Guy anymore? I haven't talked to him in a while. Not any reason. We just, he's really busy. I'd stay pretty busy. And so, yeah, I haven't talked to him in a while. But he's doing good. I have talked to Lunkers. I talked to Lunkers here recently. They're doing good. All them guys are hanging in there, killing it, man. They're doing great. Willie Brogdon says, good luck. I hope you win. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Avery says we're going to get second. Not to you, we ain't, Jack. What do you tend to do when a lake suddenly gets muddy and cold water? Do you stay fishing your creek channels or do you push shallow? Yeah, you gotta explore around a little bit. Yeah, you do. I do tend to push a little more shallow. Now that may mean going from creek channels in 20 foot of water to 12 foot of water. It may mean going from creek channel bends in 12 foot of water to 5 foot of water. And it may mean getting out of the creek channel altogether. It depends on where the fish have been. Right now on Fork, I would concentrate on creek channel bends 12 foot and less. But wherever there was vegetation, I would also be willing to get up and sling around a chatterbait, a lipless crankbait in the vegetation. So you got to kind of, when conditions change, you got to move around and explore around and try to find some bites. That's what you got to do. And then you can start keying on areas from there. But you got to be open-minded and fish a little bit of all of it until you figure out what they're doing. Do I have any guide days available? My next guide trip available date is May 31st. May 31st is my next availability for a guide trip. What's my all-time favorite bait? Chatterbait. Chatterbait's my all-time favorite bait. It's pretty easy to tell. I fish it so much. It's ridiculous how much I fish it. It's crazy. If they ever outlaw the chatterbait and bass fishing, I'll have to find a new job. Why do you not fish Caddo or have you in the past? Thoughts? Good question. No reason. I guess there is reasons that I don't fish Caddo. It's a great lake. It's got great fishing. I fished it one time, one long holiday weekend, years before I started guiding and everything. Really liked it. It's a long drive for me. Like, I can almost beat a Rayburn by the time I drive to Caddo from where I live. On top of that, I have to drive directly past, almost over, so many great fisheries to get to Caddo that I just never end up making that trip. I always decide, no, I'm not going to go all the way out there. I can go to Pines. No, I'm not going to go all the way out there. I can go to Welsh or Monticello when it was open. Or, I just have to drive past all these great fisheries. Thank you, Tom G. I appreciate it, brother. Where do you fish a chatterbait on a lake without grass in the winter? Just next to cover, just next to cover. I'll fish it around creek channel edges and stumps. If I'm going to do that, I like to be able to see the stumps. That way I don't hang up too much because the chatterbait will hang up on wood. But just close to cover. And, the deal with where I fish is pretty much every lake around here has got some grass. So I really don't have to face that situation, where do you fish a chatterbait without grass? Because almost everywhere I fish has some grass in it. So what is your guess for when marinas will start getting active target, hoping it's before February? I need to go back and look again, see if they've made any more announcements. The last announcement I heard back in kind of mid-December, maybe the second half of December, was like now, basically, was when it was going to start coming, like early to mid-January. Was when the pre-orders were going to start getting delivered in early January, and then the rest of them would start showing up mid to late January. So should be real soon. On Chick, all the grass is gone by December. All the grass is gone on Chick? Come on now. All the grass can't be gone. It might not be where you can easily see it next to the surface, but it's got to be there somewhere. Surely it can't be all gone. It might, and I'm not trying to say you don't know what you're talking about, but in my experience, it becomes harder to find the grass because you can't see it. It doesn't grow close to the surface. It dies down and it's shorter, but it's still there. You just have to find it on your electronics or find it just by slow fishing a lipless crankbait or chatterbait so slow that you actually do get down in it and then you find out it's there. It's usually, my experience, it's still there. It's just not as tall and not as obvious. All right, Avery, I appreciate you joining us tonight, man. We'll holler at you tomorrow. Second choice on a chatterbait after the jackhammer. Whew, good question. Oh, second choice on a chatterbait after the jackhammer. I really used to like the Phoenix vibrating jig. Of course, that's been discontinued for years now. I don't know. I only fish jackhammers. I guess the Alex Finch one would be a good one. That's a good one. I fished that one some. The Finch Nasty Thumper. It's a local guy to DFW. He makes a good chatterbait. Joe Spates makes a good chatterbait too. But neither one of those, the blade just doesn't hit the head. It's just not the same. For me, it's just not as good. Talon, yeah, Talon makes a good vibrating jig too. They do. I think Jason Christie used a big spinnerbait in a Bassmaster Classic on Grand one year in some cold temps. Yeah, and they had cold, dirty water on Grand where Jason was fishing. Now, Edwin Evers ended up winning that tournament in some clear water up the Elk River. But, yeah, I remember that Classic. Jason Christie did lead most of that Classic throwing a big, bladed, thumper-style spinnerbait in cold, muddy water. That's absolutely what happened in that Classic. Yep. It's great. It's a really good bait in that situation. Thank you, Chris Saunders. I appreciate it. Thunder Cricket is a good alternative to jackhammer. I've never fished a Thunder Cricket. I've heard it's pretty good. I've just never fished it. Josh Murphy said, I wonder if red works here in Virginia already. I don't know. I mean, I've never fished in Virginia. I would love it if you would try it out and let me know. In case I ever find myself bass fishing in Virginia, then I'll know red works. I can feel it home. Jared Carson said he's going to take the day off and go get him a Lowrance active target as soon as they start allowing it, as they say. By the way, anybody want to buy a boat? If y'all know anybody wants to buy a boat, y'all tell them to holler at me, man. I need to sell that boat right there. It's a really good boat. All right. If y'all got any more questions, go ahead and ask them, man. We'll maybe start wrapping up here pretty soon, I guess. We've been going almost an hour now. But, hey, appreciate you guys watching as always. Be tuned in. We got some good content coming from Ravenwell. I hope you guys like the content. I worked pretty hard during the practice trying to put together a video that really explained my thought process. And it wasn't so much about the fish catching. And there's really not all that much fish catching in those videos. But it's about, how I found areas, the research I did, and then breaking those areas down once I got there. What will I use in a tournament? What will I not use in a tournament? And all that type of stuff. I go way into detail on all of that. So hopefully you guys will find some good use out of those. And I hope y'all enjoy them, man. Do I use red jackhammers? Maybe. I don't know. Got to keep my top secret baits secret till after the tournament, dog. What do the water conditions look like on Rayburn? So I left there Sunday. That was the last day before we went off limits. And it looked really good. There was a few parts of the lake that got muddied up. Like, you go on a way up north, it got dirtied up pretty doggone bad. Like, pretty bad. But down on the southern half of the lake, the water looked really good. It didn't look dirty at all, honestly. So I don't know how it held up to this storm they had down there last night. That was a pretty bad storm that went through there last night. So I'll just have to see. I mean, that's the thing about off-limits tournaments is you don't get to look, and neither does anybody else. we're all rolling the dice, rolling to our first spot, hoping it didn't get blown out by dirty water in that storm this week, because nobody's going to get to see it until you take off Saturday morning. So we'll just have to see. And that's where those locals, they have an advantage, because they know the areas that are going to dirty up and the areas that aren't going to dirty up as better than somebody like myself does. Have you ever put a rubber band on a chatterbait hook for a weed guard? I sure haven't. That's an interesting idea. I get what you're saying. You put it up around the head and you stretch it back to the hook to make it like a weed guard. Interesting. How much for the boat? I'd have to look. I'm just trying to get, you know, my payoff money on it. It'd be around low to mid 60s is what it would be for that boat. Now that boat's you order it like it is. It's all custom ordered. It's one of, there's not even another one that color on earth that I know of. But you order that boat the way I ordered it, and the suggested retail on it's like $90,000. So 65, 63, that sounds like expensive for a 1-year-old boat. Not really. It's really not. It's actually a pretty good deal. So, what color is my new boat going to be? My new boat's going to be basic silver and black like this one is, but it's going to have some red highlights to it. So, all right, guys, I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. The questions are slowing down. Hey, we're going to get after them in this tournament this weekend. Hopefully we go out there, man. I don't know. I won't be happy, really happy, unless we win. And I don't think J-Bo will either. That's just kind of how we're built. But I'm going to go out there and fish my own game. I'm not going to worry about the 40-pound bag scenario. I'm not going to worry about the locals. I'm going to go out and fish the fish that I found as hard as I can fish them. And if we execute on those and we get the bites, we should come in with a pretty good bag. I think we can probably come in somewhere between 20 and 25 pounds if we do that. And if we do that with these conditions and we get beat, we just get beat. So that's what we're going for, man. Hey, I appreciate it. Like I said, you guys do so much for us here and do so much for me and my family. I really do appreciate it. And that's why I always try to help you guys as much as I can. All right. Hey, like I said, man, thank y'all so much. Stay tuned for the tournament videos. Saturday night, we'll have a live stream, after action report, seminar type deal from the tournament, me and J-Bo. And we'll see you next time right here on your Lake Fork Guide.